Welcome to Leadcast.
Blinded by the shadow your light casts. Headshot.
Let's go. Welcome to the League of Trade. Hello and welcome to episode 382 of the Leadcast podcast. I'm your host, Nick the King Cooper. Joining me, Aiden Frost Rockhards.
Heyo.
And Colton Blue Basket Sweat.
Heyo.
So, before we get into our weeks, we've got quite a bit of news this week. New patch, new game, Riot Games, plural.
Oh, plural games. Indie company, now big company.
Not anymore. Yeah. Tencent. Papa Tencent. New Mordekaiser, Kiana. I assume we're pronouncing it correctly.
No, sorry, it's Keanu Reeves.
Nice.
Keanu
Reeves. Bi-weekly. We're gonna do a bi-weekly. Probably skip Mordekaiser to talk about Mordekaiser and then Kiana. In the future, we got a roundtable question, the return of the actual cheese picker, LCS news, and a couple emails. Aiden, why don't you tell us about your week, though?
First of all, breaking update. Apparently, I pushed the release date of the Sonic movie. Is that true?
Yeah, because the internet hated everything, so they redid it, right?
But I didn't hear them. I didn't know they pushed it 2020 February. They pushed it like 4 months.
Yeah, because they have to reanimate every single scene that Sonic's in. Make it not shit.
I didn't see that until now. I'm sad.
That's been out there for a bit.
Oh, okay. Well,
I'd rather it be, not as bad. I think it's probably still gonna be bad. But
I'd rather it be worse.
Okay.
I
Way
hope
to
they
ruin
push
my
it
day.
back, and it's worse.
Yeah. So I played League this week.
Yeah?
I played not a lot of League. I haven't played like any on my main because I lost 2 games. And I'm like, fuck League of Legends, and then I didn't want to play it, and then I kept playing on my Smurf, which is a problem. But on my Smurf, I'm having a lot of fun. I kind of just play Tom Kench, and then I like win some games, and then I lose other games, and it's pretty good. And I have this thing where whenever Tom Kench gets banned, I play Nasus, and then I lose.
Sounds like a good strat.
3 out of those 4 games on my Nasus that has a 0% win rate. I was hard carrying. My team didn't want to win. The other game I fed real hard. So that's all right. Other than that, Xbox released their Games Pass and E3 happened and stuff, and I'm super excited for a lot of E3 stuff.
Yeah.
But Xbox Game Pass, I think at least Nick and I got it, and a couple of our friends got it. I think Colton's thinking about picking it up. It's on for like $1 or whatever, so we've been downloading games and playing them. So it's been fun. Probably play more of those this week.
If you download it, don't download Z Tycoon.
That game is fucking ass. I mean, so you never pay money for that game. But I had fun for the hour we played it.
Yeah. We made one zoo after half an hour of connectivity issues. Instantly went bankrupt after we all bought too many animals. So, pretty much exactly how zoos work in real life.
Buy all the animals. You gotta build the infrastructure.
Yeah, whatever. We're just trying to play games.
Gotta get the children there.
The game's actually social commentary on how zoos are industries that can't make profit. It's actually impossible to turn a profit in that game.
True.
Yeah, other than that, though, it's just a good week overall, I think. Yeah, League's fun. Mordekaiser came out today. We'll talk about him later, but he's really fucking cool.
Hey, I'm gonna make a weird segue, okay?
Oh yeah, let's do it. Let's go for it.
You notice what else came out today?
What?
Aiden, many years ago. Happy birthday, bud.
Thank you.
Happy birthday.
I would say sing me happy birthday, but Michael Jackson will copyright it. He's the one who owns it, right? Is it him or Disney who owns the license happy birthday?
I didn't realize a person owns that. Yeah, we can't do it on a podcast.
Happy birthday.
I guess this is my birthday episode too. Because mine was on Friday, the 7th.
Yeah, I was going to say, you guys have such close birthdays.
Yeah, what happened 9 months ago?
Oh, Warner owns it. Apparently it was just like a myth that
like Warner
Michael
Brothers?
Jackson. Yeah. That's what it sounds. No, Warner/Chapel Music.
Oh, I don't know what that is. Yikes.
It's the League
I don't
of
know what that
Legends
is either.
podcast,
Do we owe them
by the
any
way.
money? How much money do we owe them? That's a better question.
Yeah.
They haven't
Cool.
sent us an invoice yet, so I think we're in the clear.
Nice.
What about you, Colton? What do you do this week?
This week I have been pretty busy just with like work and my now 3 D&D games that I run, so that's three
no.
nights out of my given week. Aside from that, I went to Six Flags for a little bit on Sunday, rode some roller coasters, hung out. That was fun. I played a decent amount of ranked. I've been jungling, playing some Kha'Zix mostly, a little bit of Hecarim. Kha'Zix is pretty fun. I've been enjoying him again for like the first time in a long time. So I got up to series to D2, got completely screwed out of my series, went 0-2 in it, and then lost I think like 1 or 2 more games after that. So I think I'm at like 60 points right now in D3, but I'll probably stick to jungling for a little while and try and climb back up again. Other than that, I haven't been playing much of anything else. I started watching That Time I Got Reincarnated as a Slime. That show's pretty fun. It's an isekai where the guy gets reincarnated as a slime. That's OP. And yeah. Other than that, though, I mean, mostly just work and trying to keep busy with life stuff. So I guess I'll pass it over to our host, Papa Nick.
Hey, it's me. I played
Yes,
a
Papa?
metric fuck ton of Path of Exile this weekend.
Mm-hmm.
I think I put in like 20 hours over 2 days, at least. Probably more. And then I got to endgame and my game kept crashing every like couple minutes. I think I got on for like 2 minutes yesterday, instantly crashed out and played something else.
You're sad.
Well, it's just like, it's not fun to crash. You know?
It was just sad because it sounded like you guys took a couple of days off and you're like, oh, we should play. And you got on, you crashed 2 minutes and you're like, let's play something else.
Yeah, I didn't play NAM. We played a bunch Saturday and Sunday. New League came out, so I played with old host of the show, Alex Whitehair. And we played a lot on Saturday and Sunday. Took a small break on Monday because I had work in school. Came home yesterday from school, played a bunch of League, tried to do a map, crashed on the very first like trash that we pulled. So that sucked. But I updated my graphics card driver and it appears to be okay. I was going at a much slower pace than I would be with Alex in the zone with me, so I'm hoping that doesn't affect it at all, but oh well. And I think that's mostly my week for games.
Ooh.
Yeah, very excited about some of the E3 stuff. I think Cyberpunk will exceed expectations, which seems impossible.
Yeah.
So
E3 was really good this year, actually.
yeah, was there no Sony stuff this year?
No, Sony didn't have a conference.
That seems not good.
Well, they got memed on it last year for having the flute guy, and then like they had like 3 things to show, so it was like mainly just like a visual presentation.
Hey Sony, you could just not schedule a flute guy. You can still have a
Interesting.
conference.
Bold strategy.
It's like, well, we got this flute guy under contract for 6 more years. What do we do?
A full flute performance. Like a concert.
Just a one-man flute concert at a video game press conference.
You know, flute guy was all right. It's just odd for a press conference. How about that? Is that fair?
That's fair. I think that's a very nice way to put it. But yeah, I think that's basically it. Let's get into the news where we had a new patch 9.12, and it's got some pretty okay stuff. All of the Dark Star skins, Jin, Karma, Shaco, and I guess the Mordekaiser rework was included in this picture, oddly enough. But those 3 skins will be available Thursday, June 13th, so probably today if you're listening. And then let's get into the actual changes themselves. Mordekaiser has now been reworked. We talked about this on a previous episode. We'll talk about him in our Metakaiser, which has actually never been more appropriate, next week.
Yeah.
So, but
I guess like quick
early-
thoughts on him though. Have you
Sure.
guys played games yet? or no?
No, I have not played any games.
No, I got home from work about 3 minutes before we started recording.
Yeah.
As the unemployed person of the podcast, I played a bunch of games today, and my duo partner happens to have mained old Mordekaiser. So he played new Mordekaiser all day, and new Mordekaiser is fucking bonkers OP. That character is going to get hotfix nerfed, I think.
Yeah.
He's,
All reports seem to indicate that he's very strong.
he's like, I think he's playable mid if you like counter pick into a good matchup. He's like all right top lane, and then he's really good jungle. His clear is really fast, and it's pretty healthy if you use your shield as like to tank rather than to like heal yourself.
Interesting.
Those are my first reports. The main problem with him is that your R is a click it on anyone who's not the most fed target in the game, and you kill them immediately. And that's not good for this game.
Yeah, that seems like
To quote Riot Games, that's okay.
Yeah.
that seems a little problematic, but
And it's like, like they're definitely gonna eventually. There's no way they don't fix the stuff like when you ult the jungler, they can't see Baron and Dragon and stuff like that. Like that's problematic in its own right, and that just shouldn't be the way that it works. And he'll be like pick ban just because of that, I think. But also just like the gimmicks of like being able to hit anyone is a little bit silly.
yeah, I mean, I don't understand. Like, so turrets are still in the Shadow Realm. Why aren't neutral objectives? That seems like such an easy way to fix the junglers can't see it issue.
Also, turrets are weak as fuck in the Shadow Realm because you gain like their resist and stuff and health and stuff. So you're already super
your
tanky.
targets? Yeah.
Yeah, so you don't really take turret damage.
Interesting. Yeah, but Mordekaiser, his rework is out. We'll talk about him more in depth next week. So, who wants to take on the the annual Rise rework?
It's my boy, Rise, the reworked hero. For every rework Rise accumulates, he gains 1 stack of Fury. For every stack of Fury, he becomes 1% better. No, so Q spell ranks have been decreased, shield removed, damage bonus is now dependent on ult, W now slows, I think, instead of rooting, and spell flux converts slow to root. Okay. So they moved some of his Q damage and took away the shield, and made its damage scale up with his ulti. W is now a slow, but if it's an empowered by a spell flux, it is still a root. So, okay. That seems like a good direction.
It seems like they took a lot of choice out of the characters. My only problem, in the fact that like not being able to choose for like a shield or like a stronger root or like to spread flux, you don't have those choices anymore. It's kind of like you're a QE bot, like not last Rise rework, not the one before that, but the one right before that one. You know, when he's the tank Rise. Mm-hmm. I feel like he's very, very similar to that Rise, where I think most builds for him are going to be like these full tank or like off tank builds, where you just throw out Qs and Es the entire fight, and then when you want to like root someone, you like empower it and then use W. But like most part, you're just going to be like a super tanky shotgun mage again, I think, based on how like this looks at least.
And that's with the reworks coming to like Abyssal Mask and Haunting Guys, Haunting Guys and Leandries and Rod of Ages, I think, are the ones. Mm-hmm. That could give that some serious damage while being stupidly tanky.
Something that's not really mentioned in the little blurb that they give at the beginning is that his E now always bounces.
Yeah.
Which is super interesting.
Yeah, you don't have to like apply. That's what I mean. Like all three your ability choices. Before it was your Q, you'd use double Q, not double Q, but you know what I mean. Like empowered version of it to get a shield. W, you'd use empowered version to get a huge root. E, you just use double E to spread flux. Don't have any of those choices anymore. Which I think once again, this will be a buff for like lower ELO, but a nerf for pro play, which is probably what they're trying to do, I guess. Mm-hmm. Cool. Yeah. Silas, another character that we needed to be nerfed. So his passive now stores 2 charges, the base damage increased, AoE decreased, AoE damage less effective against minions. That's on his passive. Q detonation damage and AoE range decreased on minions. W heal increased. E shield adjusted, so now it goes on the second cast rather than the first cast when you hit someone, and the cooldown is increased later on it. So overall, these are nerfs. His W got a buff. I don't see why they needed to give him like a buff on that. It's a little bit weird. It already heals like a ton. I think the biggest change is putting his shield on the second part of his E. Now you don't just like get the dash in the shield. You have to dash, and then when you hit someone with your chains and pull yourself towards them, you get the shield, which makes way more sense for an ability, I think.
Yeah, it certainly does. That's a commitment to going in, and also you're rewarded for that commitment.
I still feel like he's going to be a very, very strong character, though. Having like storing 2 charges to your passive is actually like a huge buff. I guess the damage to minions so you clear less is probably needed, but that's a pretty big nerf. But storing 2 is not like you should. That's huge. I feel like people are like overlooking that.
That is really big. Yeah, it makes it just makes it easier to play him without having to effectively weave in those auto attacks. So it just makes it easier, which is nice.
Do you get a charge for each one of your E's? Like, yeah, you do,
Yes.
right?
Yes,
Yep.
you get
So-
one for both.
So in theory, you could E onto someone, then auto them twice with 2 AoEs, right? Mm-hmm. That's kind of big.
Or I mean, auto once, and then you'd close your combo with an auto. So like
Yeah.
EE auto, Q auto, W auto, auto.
That's
Big
pretty cool.
slap. Big
Yeah.
slap.
Yeah, he's a little bit strong. Definitely in pro play, he's kind of like pick or ban. But I really like seeing him being played. It's just I don't like his W, like how he is like a super oppressive mage, but he also is kind of tanky late game. Like you have to kill him in the W cooldown window, or else you're never going to be able to kill him.
Yeah, it's really strange that like it's sort of like a reverse execute heal while also being a damage execute. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of like the perfect ability.
Like
Which
it's
makes
weird.
it hard to.
I'd rather him just have another like damage ability there. Like that would be more frustrating to play against, like trading with him and stuff. But it just doesn't feel good when he can out heal everything as well.
Yeah, for sure.
Cool.
Nice. Yumi, base health is increased. Passive mana refund decreased early. Shield decreased. W shared adaptive force is adjusted, and the dash is now interruptible by all CC. Does that include like shields and stuff? Oh, any immobilizing CC. Okay. Nice. That's just bringing her back in line a little bit. She was very strong.
How do her W changes like plan out? Because now it's a percentage of her attached allies.
So it's
So
a
that's-
flat and then
that's a
a
buff.
percentage. Is it?
It's a buff when you're on carries, right?
Yes.
That would yeah, okay. Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, so after Yumi, we've got some smaller changes. Aatrox, passive cooldown now scales based on his level. Ulti healing now only applies to self-healing.
I really like the
Does it
passive
still apply
change.
to Conqueror?
I do as well. Does he reduce the passive of his does he reduce the cooldown of his passive in any way?
I don't think so.
I think it's just CDR, yeah. It's not like landing sweet spot Qs or anything, I don't think.
Interesting.
That's just a good way to make him scale into later like game, I think.
Yeah.
And kind of hurt his early game a little bit. It's good.
A nerf his
Cool.
Yumi interaction.
I mean, yeah, R shouldn't have been all incoming healing anyways. I
Yeah,
still think
yeah.
it shouldn't be like off of Triumph. I feel I'm assuming that's still self healing, right? Triumph.
I think so.
I still think that interaction shouldn't be there, but like, hey, one step at a time. The Yumi thing was like insane.
Yeah, true.
W on Ashe cooldown decreased. I guess they're springing her in line. They say that they want her to be like a character that you pick for ultimate's utility, and she just currently isn't really playable, even to like pick her just for ult. So cool.
Yeah. We've got Caitlyn up next. Ooh, +2 AD. Actually, a pretty nice buff in this case.
I don't know if like it's enough.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, it's nice, maybe not enough.
So what? In a team fight, you get off 15 autos. Is that fair? So that's 30 damage from auto attacks plus ability. You don't even really use abilities though.
I mean, I
Yeah.
think this just makes her early game really right. Is what they're trying to do is like get her early game a little bit stronger.
Yeah.
They're specifically mentioning like, hey, usually when Caitlyn's good, she's the best. So we don't want that to happen. We got to take it slow.
I guess I just feel like 280 is like actually a meaningful change on a lot of characters. Like if you give Irelia 280, all of her abilities like do like a billion
true,
more.
yeah.
Well, not a billion more damage, but like it adds to every single one of her abilities. It adds to every single Q she uses, right? Which is a ton. Plus her autos, plus her whatever. Whereas Caitlyn, it's really only your autos, and then maybe one Q in an ult in a fight.
Yeah, I mean, her W has a really good scaling on it, so that may be impactful, but hey, that's
Cool.
it. Speaking of Aurelia,
Ooh, there she is. E cooldown increased, range decreased. So that's her stun. So again, cooldown up, range down. So double nerf.
Probably won't affect good players, I guess, sort of thing. But it'll probably affect bad players at her.
yeah, I was listening to, I was watching a clip of Yasuo Mo, and he was mentioning that he thinks a better nerf would be to increase the cooldown of her Q, so that way if you misplay, you're very vulnerable.
Yeah, it'd be great. Her mobility is stupidly good.
Yeah, I like the idea of giving her like an increased Q cooldown on an ability that can reset to 0. Like that. Yeah. If you don't do it properly, then yeah, you're kind of like fish out of water sort of thing. Cool.
Yeah, I thought it was a really good approach to that.
Yeah. Karma, Q slow increased, E cost decreased, movement speed duration increased to match shield duration. So the Karma buffs kind of like those are pretty big buffs. 10% on Q is a pretty big slow increase, and then the movement speed duration
I think the
increased.
big thing is adding a full second to that shield duration and that movement speed duration. That's huge.
Well, the shield I think already lasted that long, but
Yeah.
now the movement speed will match the shield duration.
Okay. Well, yeah. Still, I think that's pretty big.
More klepto top Karma, probably makes that way better.
The only thing is, I did see a comment mentioning that the Q buff does not affect her Mantra Q, but the E buff does affect her Mantra E.
Okay, because her Q is probably already higher.
I think it
I would
already
assume.
slows for more, yeah. I think
Yeah.
it's 50,
Okay, that makes sense.
something around there. Yeah. But that, I mean, 2.5 seconds of move speed for your entire team with the shield is kind of nuts.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Lulu. So all of her abilities have new visual effects. And I know one of the things that we saw in, I think, one of Jat's comments somewhere is that you really can't tell what's happening with Lulu ult. Like, did you guys know? I'm sure you guys do, but that there's a slow attached to the aura of Lulu ult.
I feel like
Which
most
is
people
not
don't know
very...
that.
Yeah, I mean, it's got a knock up. It makes you big. And then the visual clarity kind of falls away from there.
Yeah.
E shield has been increased, and the cost of her E is decreased later. So some buffs to Lulu, which is fun. I really like playing Lulu.
She's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Up next, we have Master Yi. We fixed a bug on his passive, where it was lasting 3 seconds instead of 4. So not a whole lot.
Master E buffs. Pog. Nautilus Q base damage decreased early. That's probably good. That kind of nerfs support a little bit. He does do a little bit too much damage early game. I still feel like he's probably one of the best supports in the game, regardless of this nerf.
Oh, I mean, losing 20 damage level 1, I mean, nothing.
yeah.
Like
you're
I don't
picking
think
him
that's
because he's a
nothing.
point click
I think
ult.
he's still super strong. I think it's significant. Like 20 damage at level 1 is a lot, but he's still nutty, and it's still an 80 damage base, and then he autos you again with bonus damage from his passive and roots you.
Yeah, that's the big thing. That is like the big thing is the CC that it offers, along with the CC of your passive. So, yeah, yeah, I kind of agree with you, Aiden. You mentioned this. I don't think it was on the show. I think we were just talking. Where he's just too easy to play. He's too easy to be as impactful as he is.
They should change the hitbox on his Q because it's huge.
Absolutely, that is the most fucked hitbox in the
It
game.
is massive. Like
I don't understand.
it's as easy to hit Nautilus Q as it is to hit like a MFE.
I think it's harder to log into the client than it is to hit a Nautilus Q. Like, honestly.
My suggested change would be is make his ult less dumb. Like, it used to be 10 seconds, now it's 6 seconds as shield. But, like, 6 seconds is still way too long for, like,
That's real long, yeah.
400 health shield. Like, that is a long-ass shield. I'd rather it be, like, a bigger shield, even though the shield's already gross. Like, it's 100 base at, like, max rank, plus it scales with the health, I think, or something. But, like, 6 seconds? Who the fuck has a 6-second shield in the game? Morgana's spell shield is
Morgana's
5.
5? Yeah.
That's spells only. Like, that's
Make
a
his
long shield.
ult a skill shot.
No,
That'd be
false. False.
I think.
What
it'd
if it
be
was a
pretty
skill
cool
shot
if
that
it-
went through stuff, Nick?
If it were an AoE skill shot, I would be fine with that. But
Like, it
it
went
can't be
through
in a
everything and it was
single
faster.
target. Okay, I would be fine
No,
with that.
I'm saying making it like kind of like a Braum ult is what I'm thinking, like that kind of thing, but
okay.
like a little bit longer and still more like that kind of idea of like the depth charge where like one goes off and then the next one and then the next one.
Okay, I would be more fine with that.
That'd be
Yeah.
cool.
Alternatively, switch the passive damage and the root. Switch the passive damage on his W and the root on his passive. So you have
the
that.
root only applies when the W's on,
Yeah.
but the bonus damage is always. I'd be fine with that.
Yeah. I mean, a little biased. I really like that change. I think that's
Yeah.
so good.
I think that'd be cool. I think also maybe instead of like having that ridiculous move speed slow on Izzy, make it like an attack speed slow so he's a real tank.
I'm always hesitant about attack speed slows.
Yeah, it's tough.
They're just like the least fun in the game to play.
What's the worst one in the game? What's the worst one in the game? There's only a couple
Okay.
left.
Okay, so
There's like two that actually.
I think
just
there's
suck
2,
dick.
yeah.
There's Wither and then there's Malphite.
So
Oh, there's
I don't
3
even
then.
mind the. I don't mind those. I don't mind those ones at all. What's the one?
Are you going to say okay, so I'm going to say it's not fun to play against those two, but at least they're clear, I guess.
Yeah.
Fiora.
If you're a fuck, dude, that ability
or her
shouldn't have an
W,
attack
I don't know
speed
which
slow.
one it is. Yeah,
it's
it's just like it's why is it there?
It shouldn't. Makes no sense. It's like they're like, hey, this ability sucks if you fuck it up. So here's an attack speed slow. Oh,
Yeah,
it actually that shouldn't be in the game. Like Wither, I'm like, oh, it makes sense. He's like kind of slows you, whatever. Malphite, oh, he kind of slams the ground. He makes you slow. Well, his is
That
like
makes
more
sense, yeah.
dumb. But does Nunu have one still or no? I don't know if
Maybe
he
on
does
his ultimate?
He should have one. But like, why the fuck does Fiora's riposte a slow attack? It triggers me every single time I play against it.
So the only explanation is she used to have that counter attack, right? Mm-hmm. Which made her better against like auto attacking champs. But I think that was supposed to become riposte. So it's kind of like, why is she good against both spellcasters and auto attack champions?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
I feel like that would actually be now that you just mentioned that, like, I think her idea as a duelist, like, I wish Riposte was more built around like countering auto attackers and not just cancel one spell.
Yeah, I mean,
If it was
I
just
do-
like quick pop to like reflect an auto or something.
I mean, that's how it used to be, right?
Yeah, I think that's better though for her theme. And I think that again, it's just super frustrating to like, if you play like Urgot into Fiora, you should never ever get to ult because the cast time on it's so long.
Yeah, I do kind of like that mind game though, of like, you have to use this ability, but I have to save my riposte. I think it's super interesting.
Mm-hmm. By the way, those should
But-
be only 3 attack speed slows in the game.
Okay, yeah.
Frozen Heart, Randuin's. Get fucked.
Yeah.
I feel like
Words
Frozen Heart
now.
isn't strong enough.
Yeah.
Agree.
Hey,
I think it
that's
should
for
probably,
another
like-
time though.
Well,
Yeah.
80% attack speed slow.
the only thing is that I like that Frozen Heart is an OP is that it's an ability that is effective if you like avoid them. If you're an 80 carry and you go, holy fuck,
Yeah.
they have attack speeds, they have Randuins or like they have Thornmail or whatever, right? Or they have Warden's Mail. I shouldn't attack them. Well, this one they have to be near you, which kind of that's the only reason why it can't be OP, I think.
Yeah. Anyway, Aiden, you want to?
Sure.
Thomas.
Yeah, you want to talk about your main?
Mr. Kench.
Yeah, so he just made some changes to his W. So his W minimum duration before the champion regurgitation has been decreased. That's actually so big though. So before you'd have a 1 second lockup before like they can be spit out. Now they can spit out in quarter second, which is fucking massive, dude. If like someone gets stunned, you can like pick them up and then they can immediately spit themselves out. The one thing that you have to apply now is that they can't spit themselves out when they're CC'd still. So if it is like a 3 second stun, if you eat them, they can't spit themselves out for like the full 3 seconds or whatever, which is probably a good mechanic before it kind of cleanse them a bit in a way. But anyways, it feels really, really good. If anyone's in a bad spot for like a second, they can immediately get in your mouth and then they can put themselves out so they don't miss out on DPS, which is huge. And it also spits them out closer to you, so you can't spit them over walls. I'm not sure if the cast range is still like the same or not, because eating people over walls is like a pretty big mechanic that a lot of people don't know of. I hope they didn't like nerf that.
Yeah, it's real strong. I could see them nerfing it.
Yeah.
So it only says spit. Which
Yeah,
makes
I
you
think it's
that
just
it's not affected.
so you maybe can't spit them over bigger walls, which is that was a little bit silly. And then they nerfed the damage on it, which I don't know why they're nerfing the damage on this. Like his Devour doesn't really do that much damage. If anything, they should be nerfing his Q like damage or like
100%.
I don't know. It's 280 at max rank and it's a really long skill shot. I don't know. Devour seems like a weird ability to nerf in my opinion, but oh well.
You know what else they nerfed or addressed? The QW bug.
I
They
don't know
identified
if
it as a bug.
Did though. I was playing with it today and I couldn't. I think.
Oh.
I don't know. I didn't think it like affected my mana, but maybe it did. I definitely know I can't like. So when the bug was a thing, you could use Q and then W, and it would cost 0 mana for you. And if you had 50 mana, you couldn't use W, right? But you could still QW, which was funny. I know you can't do QW anymore when you have not enough mana, but I'm not sure if it does actually take the mana away. At least I didn't feel like I had mana issues, so maybe it wasn't a big deal anyways. Cool.
Tom's in a really weird spot.
He's strong, but I don't know. People like, I feel like the main problem is with any lane ability, like say if Pantheon was a fucking insane laner, right? People would be calling for his head, even though the fact that he's Pantheon and he does fucking nothing after 20 minutes, right?
Oh, for sure.
And
Like it's not fun laning against Tahm Kench, but you get out of lane and I feel like he does nothing.
Literally play a ranged character, play a mage, play a klepto character, survive 15 minutes and you win the game. Like that's your game plan. Your game plan that everyone in solo queue does is play a melee and try to fight you, which I feel
melee
like
and don't take Conqueror.
it's like I don't know. I feel like at that point they should be losing ELO and the character shouldn't be nerfed. Like you're just playing wrong into it. Like, oh well. I think he's like he's definitely strong. He's definitely like a top tier top laner right now. But is he like OP? I don't think he's OP at least.
I don't think so either. I've lost one game on him, so he can't be that OP.
I think he's very strong though. I think I'll give you that.
Yeah. I think he is like I think the biggest issue is he's a very unconventional lane for most people. And maybe I think that contributes a lot to his strength.
He's
where if
also,
like if you know how to lane against him, he's not that strong. But if you don't, the game's over for you.
He's very similar to Darius too. If Darius gets one kill in lane, you just get killed like 50 times in lane, and you want to kill yourself, and you think Darius is the most OP character in the game. I hate Darius. They should nerf him. If you die once to Tahm Kench, he gets an item lead on you. He's tankier than you. He does more damage than you. Like it's not fun if you give away one kill. So I feel like he's just not good against people who don't know how to play against him at all.
Yeah. Nice. Zach, W base damage is increased. The ultimate knockback distance and chunk spawn has been adjusted. Yeah. Nice changes to Zach. He's weaker than he was when they reverted his ulti. So, helping him out a little bit.
Yeah, this is a little buff, which is nice, and I think we're gonna see a lot more Zach here real soon as they continue to tune him. Corrupting Potion, the bonus magic damage has gone from 15 to 30, scaling it per level, to 15 at all levels. Because, hey, it's the best starting item in the game for a lot of people, and it gets better as it goes along, and it's nutty and Dark Seal stacking, and they wanted to make other options as good.
So, real talk. Let's say that they remove the damage aspect. This is still one of the better starting items, right?
Probably, I guess.
Yeah, it's still pretty good.
I guess
It does
like
5 DPS, which is pretty negligent.
I guess the main thing is like I don't think the damage really. So like the only reason I think this item is good on a lot of the characters is if you run Time Warp Tonic.
Yeah.
I think Time Warp Tonic actually breaks this item. They either need to change Time Warp Tonic or like make it not work with this or something. Because the main problem is this item gives you 150 health, I want to say, over like 15 seconds or 12 seconds or whatever. The way that Time Warp Tonic works is it gives you half of it immediately. So it's like a mini fort pot. If people don't know what that is, like in season 2 or 3, there was an item called Potion of Fortitude, which would give you like 100 health and 20 AD or something when you pop it. So you could pop it in the middle of a fight and just gain 100 health. And you could like fort pot bait people into like fighting you and stuff like that. So like if you're fighting people right now, yeah, they're popping potions and they're gaining whatever 10 health a second, right? Whatever the ratio is. But you pop your corrupting potion, not only are you doing damage on hit, but you gain 75 health immediately. Like that's huge. You can pop that twice in a fight. You gain 150 health immediately in a fight. Like that's gross. Like that, I think that's the reason why corrupting potion is so strong, in my opinion. Though I it's strong regardless, but I think for like the bruiser trading characters, it needs to not work with that.
Yeah, I honestly think they should just take out Time Warp Tonic.
Yeah, it's so niche.
Yeah, it's either too strong or too weak, and I don't think there's much in between. Yeah, and then there were a bunch of ARAM balance changes. Amumu also received a visual update to his abilities. Yeah,
yep.
Trinimir did as well. So did Ziggs. A bunch of bug fixes, and then, like we mentioned, the 3 Dark Star skins. The Jin looks pretty sweet. I think that's the one I'm most excited for.
Cool. So 2 other bits of news. One being Riot announced what we keep calling their new game. It's still in League of Legends, so it is a game mode, but we all know that they're going to release this game as a separate thing if it does well, right? There's no way they don't release this, right? This game is Teamfight Tactics. It is, I guess even they kind of admitted to it, it takes heavy inspiration from Dota's Auto Chess, which was a fan-made mod for Dota, which is super, super cool, super popular.
Super good.
Yeah, it has like a gross amount of downloads. It's super popular in like Asian countries. Like there's like phone versions of it and stuff that people have been making. So, I mean, this is obviously Riot's attempt to get in on that market. And I think it's really, really smart. And hopefully it does really well. I've really wanted to play auto chess. I just didn't spend the time in it. And I feel like I'll actually commit time to learn this. And it looks like it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, I'll actually pay attention to it because it's like mainly it was like the interface I didn't know for Dota, so I didn't even bother like past that. So excited for this.
I mean, they're super intuitive once you start playing a couple games, but I'm sure like just having previous knowledge of like, oh, I know that like Jarvan, Garen's, and Zhao Lux are from Demacia. I don't need to like hover over this character to see what they do, like that sort of thing. So,
did you see who designed the items for that game? So they have items in this game rather than like what do they have in Dota? Do they have items as well? That you
they have items, yeah, but they drop from
So do you see who designed the items and like stuff in this game, Nick?
No.
Certainly T.
Oh, he's back, boys. Hey, I mean, I may not be a fan of the champions that Certainly T has designed, but I think having a designer like Certainly T is healthy for teams.
It's so healthy. He like breaks boundaries and breaks walls that you'd normally like kind of box yourself into when designing stuff, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. Not to mention that like you're pretty much guaranteed a champion that's fun to play.
Mm-hmm.
Like
he's like a mad scientist that's just like off doing all this crazy shit, and it's just like someone just needs to like check every now and then, be like, "Hey, you all right? You still doing okay in there?"
Yeah. So that'll be fun. And then Kiana, the new champion, kind of blew up out of nowhere. It feels like.
Yeah. There's been some upset people about it, but I think she looks really cool. She looks super unique.
Oh, absolutely. Do you have a link? Like,
I'm trying to. Riot doesn't make those pages anymore, so someone made it.
True.
Why would they not do that? So
I have no idea.
Everyone, who like uses like the League of Legends website knows that Riot, after each character, they make a champion page for them where it like kind of shows all their abilities and stuff. And they went, "Hey, we're not going to make those anymore." And then some user went, "Hey, I'll make my own." So he just like used their template, like he used all their site code from like a previous one, and then made it. And he said under an hour, and he's like, "Yeah, I really don't know how to do like any coding or anything either." Trying to find it.
I found it. It's so her passive is Royal Privilege. The first attack or ability against an enemy champion deals bonus damage. This cooldown is reset when she draws a new element. Her Q is Edge of Ixtal. She slashes the area in front of her, dealing damage. If her weapon is using an element, her weapon hurls forward as a projectile and explodes. So I guess I should have explained her W first. So she dashes forward a little bit. She targets an element, which is either river, wall, or brush, the classic 3 elements of the world. And she gains her power. While she's near that element, she gains attack speed and bonus damage. But how it interacts with her Q is when she throws it forward and she has the river like element bonus, it will root opponents on hit. When she has the wall bonus, it will deal bonus damage to units with low health. And when she has the brush, it will leave a stealth trail that gives movement speed, which is it's pretty cool. Her E is Audacity. She dashes a fixed distance toward a target, dealing damage to them. And her ultimate is Supreme Display of Talent, which honestly looks kind of underwhelming.
I think it's super cool.
I just think like the animation is pretty underwhelming. That's like fair. The idea is sick. She creates a shockwave, knocking back enemies. Any river, brush, or wall hit by the shockwave then explodes, dealing damage and briefly stunning enemies. So if you're able to utilize it with an element nearby, it'll be way more impactful. But she looks really cool. So one of the things that I saw that I think Aiden alluded to earlier is that a lot of people dislike her character design. I think one of the biggest things is that I saw is that people thought she belonged in a like one of the knockoff MOBAs. Mm-hmm. I really like her design. I think she looks great.
You saw the meme picture, right, with her, I'm assuming?
Yeah, the one that was like yeah, it was like it made fun of like the Chinese MOBA knockoffs.
Like yeah, with the ads you always see on like gaming websites and stuff.
It was like Play Legends League.
I think she looks pretty cool. I think the fact that she's called the Empress of Elements and that they're calling brush, river, and wall elements is stupid. Like they could just make her like the like triumphant terrain or whatever. Like it's terrain. Like that's what she's controlling, right? Bush, river, and wall are all different types of fucking terrain. They are not elements, in my opinion.
Yeah, but I think this is like a sort of a gameplay thing. If they say stone, water, earth, it's much less clear to like casual newer players that they're referring to wall, bush, and river.
Yeah.
So, and then there's none of that is X piece of terrain. Is this actually grass or is this wall? So,
I guess to me, then I would just again like take it all the way to that full end, and instead of like calling that shit elements, like no, this is all just like terrain on the map, and that's kind of where I'm going with it. It's like, yeah, I get that it's thematically inspired by the elements, but like it is just the river, it is just the walls, and it is just the brush.
Yeah, I wonder if any of it has to do with her lore. I don't know if they've released any of it. If they have, I haven't seen it. But that's that's a really good one. Come play now, my lord.
I wonder if any of it has to do with the fact that how long do you think when designing this character, Nick, they were trying to somehow incorporate the fire element with her? Because she has earth, water, and I guess like air, right?
Oh, how do they get all four?
Yeah, how long
Before
do you
they
think
were just
that
like,
they were
fuck
like,
it, I'm out.
They're definitely tried. There's no way they didn't try to get like fire, right?
Yeah, but how do you? Maybe turrets.
You
just buy a
can't.
Sunfire Cape, forehead.
Well,
like-
okay, so like maybe turrets. That's the only thing that I could, or dragon.
How do you apply it to your like? Yeah, I guess it's just like either way. I guarantee you that they tried at some point.
Yeah. Although, like, so I guess the only like cop out that they have that I can like come up with in the 2 seconds is that fire is generally speaking a more artificial element. Compare like it's not usually naturally occurring. Generally speaking, it's made by like humans. So maybe I don't know. Her tribe is more like in touch with, in tune with nature, which would explain like, oh, stone, river, grass. Like those are all very natural things that don't require humankind, I guess.
But if all of her voice lines were just sick fucking raps and she was just spitting hot fire all game?
Well, she is a champion to be in tune with the children. As if you base immediately, I'm not sure if it was a bug, but Aiden showed a video where if you base after you get a kill, she just dabs.
Oh.
And then she like holds
a
it
deep
too.
ass dab. Yeah.
She holds it, yeah. So pretty cool. We'll talk about her as she is being released, so that way we can get a more in-depth handle. So Aiden is going to be bouncing out soon, so we're going to hop into Vi Weekly. He's going to his birthday dinner. So.
Yeah.
He's a very special young boy.
This won't be very
1 year
long,
older now.
but I saw this on Reddit, and like, there's a lot of mixed opinions. So there was a clip today of TF Blade playing on his main account. He was like grinding solo queue. He had like his like camera off, no mic off, sort of thing. He was like hardcore grinding, and he got into a game where the enemy jungler took TP by accident. So the enemy jungler just like quit so they could remake, right? So he abused the bug that you can walk into the enemy base, like navigate through all the turrets and stuff, and then flash into like melee range of the enemy player who's like quit, and give them XP so that the game can't be remade.
Yeah. So I saw a lot of the feedback, I'll say, on Reddit, where a lot of comments were like, hey, whatever it takes to win, I like it. And then a lot of the comments were like, hey, that's pretty shitty to do. Like, regardless of, I mean, this is clearly an abusive and unintended mechanic that they said they removed, I think, 2 patches ago. I mean, yeah, what do you guys think about this?
So I've always been of the mindset of like blame the game, like not the player. He is if they actively go out of the way and say, hey, we're currently working on this, could you not abuse it? It is an exploit sort of thing, then that's one thing, right? But it is a bug that's been in the game for a long time with like their kind of like poorly put together remake system, and it's been abusable for like a long time. I think there was a couple patches where like they fixed it for a while, but then it like got ruined again. Right now you can do it again. I think this is just a problem of like they need to figure out a way to like prevent this, and I think big streamers like abusing bugs like this is actually good for the health of the game. Like I've always been like one of those people who like in Apex, I've been playing a lot of Apex. There was a bug with, or an exploit, if you will, with Wraith, that if you could cancel your like portal ability, your ultimate, with your Q, well, if you use your Q while like vaulting up a thing, so you could have infinite portals, right? Which is like not game breaking, but it gives your character like a lot more mobility, right? Like, and all the big streamers would abuse it, right? And I feel like that's a good thing, because then the fucking company goes, holy shit, we have to fix this. There's a problem in our game, right? And
Yeah, it gets the awareness that this thing is being used. More people will start using it, so it becomes a problem on their radar. It shines a spotlight on it, as opposed to like what happens to a lot of bugs, exploits, etc. that only a couple people know about it, only a couple people are using it, and nothing ever happens about it. Right? Like, that's why all of those moored bugs, or at least I think part of the reason why all of those moored bugs existed for so long is because, like, well, nobody's really playing that character, so we don't really care. Yeah. Whereas if everyone was using moored and he was in every other LCS game and they had to remake it, you know, twice a week because of this shit, like, that wouldn't fly, and they'd fix it.
I do think, like Aiden was saying, I do think it's healthier. I think it's better for the overall health of the game where those do get fixed. But that's still kind of like a not a good thing to do.
Oh,
in that
I agree.
Specific game, it's pretty shitty.
you're not a good person for abusing that, right? Like, in no way.
Yeah. I think it was a shitty thing to do. That being said, to get a win is to get a win. Like, I understand why. It's in the game, so, like, it's within your right to do so as a player, and I think really the blame ultimately lies on Riot Games for this being an option that exists. It's shitty to have done that to someone, but hey, you know, like, people are going to do shitty things to win. It's the same thing as, like, you see someone is lagging or DC'd for a few seconds, like, you go in for the kill, or at least a lot of people do. Right? It's just do what you got to do for the win, and if it exists in the game, then it's fair game.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's not like we're condoning it, but I do think that there is something to be said about, like, kind of showing the problems in the game that hopefully they'll get fixed, right?
Yeah, I think the biggest way to say it is, like, I don't think it's good. Is there a world at all where he should be punished for this? Absolutely not. Right? Like,
Yeah,
there
that's
should be, like,
people are saying he should
like,
be banned.
Yeah. Where, like, I could see some people being like, you did this, you should get, like, a penalty or something. It's like, fuck no. Like,
Well, I honestly think the only like punishment he should have is a warning saying like, "Hey, okay, we're aware of the issue. Please don't, please don't do that again."
And I think that's all they have to do. Is if they had, like, a big thing, like, if they had what if they had, like, you know how there's, like, the warning sign saying, hey, there's been game disconnect issues or whatever? If they had a thing, hey, there's currently a bug with our remake system, exploiting this is a reportable offense or something like that.
Yeah, that'd be fine. As long as it's out in the open and, like, honestly, having a ongoing list of, like, hey, things we know are issues that we will work on in the future would be great, and just slap this on there like, hey, if you abuse this, if you exploit this, you're gonna probably face some penalty in the future.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I think that's probably the best way that they can handle it. Sweet.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah.
Anyways, I'm going to hop out. I'm going to go eat. Hopefully the rest of the show is really good. I think we actually have some cool stuff. The
it'll be
LCS stuff
great.
looks really cool. I'm so excited
Yeah.
for. Oh my god.
Hell yeah.
Okay.
Well, we'll talk about it more next week. I think we'll just make notes so we can
Yeah.
talk about it then.
Sounds good.
Yeah, enjoy your dinner.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye.
goodbye, birthday boy.
All right,
All
Leakcast
right.
is for the boys.
Yeah, round table. Here it is.
Hell
You ready?
yeah.
You ready?
Hell
man?
yeah. Hell yeah.
All right. So, last week's question was: Riot has decided that all summoner spells, aside from Flash and Teleport, are awful. So they've decided to rework the others in a way so broken that you don't want to take Flash all the time. What do they do to the other summoner spells? So Luke said, Cleanse does its normal stuff, but also resets all CDs, even
Jesus.
Ultimate. He put a couple answers here. Ignite heals for the amount of damage dealt. Ghost makes you invisible. Heal is a global heal for your team like Soraka. Barrier grants armor and MR until out of combat. Exhaust can only be cast on one enemy all game, but the slow affects the champion during combat for the entire game.
I hate all of these.
I think
I'm
that there's
more fine with the Ignite.
I think that there's, like, something to be said about, like, there's ways that they could improve, right? Like, I think the idea of, like, Ignite being, you know, okay, doing something else, like maybe healing yourself. Okay, I could see that. Like, Ghost maybe having either some, like, invisibility effect, or, like, maybe it's a stronger, like, movement speed thing if you're out of combat or something, or, like, you're invisible until you enter combat. I don't know. Like, there's things about them that I could see, but very, very strong. Arthur said, Ghost lets you walk through walls for a short duration, so basically Kane is a summoner spell. Brian said, wait, what are the other summoner spells?
Nice.
Kirk says, I knew this wasn't the point, but I want to throw in a homebird one instead to spice up the pod a bit. Home Safe is the name of the ability. Instantly recall to your base. If reactivated within 10 seconds, return to your prior position. Cooldown is whatever seems logical enough to be more broken than Flash.
That seems wild.
Yeah, that's like, that's Echo Ult.
Yeah.
For a while they were using it like that. I imagine people still do. Just get back to lane. But the instantly basing, I think that's the biggest thing, right? Like, that'd have to be like a channel
Yeah.
to not be totally fucked. Broken Banjo on Discord said, exhaust makes a champion too tired to carry items, so he just drops them on the rift somewhere. They get them back, but they have to find it. Gearbox Dragoon said, it's simple. We take Ghost and make it literal. You not only move faster and go through creeps, but you're now invisible as well, similar to how Eve works during the duration. Yeah, so like you're camouflaged. I think if you were camouflaged until combat, like, I think it'd be super, super strong, but I think that could be like potential. They were making all of them significantly stronger. Our boy HD Anime Thighs. Every time. Cleanse. When activated, all CC that was on you gets transferred to all the enemies around your area. That's pretty strong.
Yeah.
Cowboy Otter said, ignite, but instead of a timer, but you just burn until you walk into the river. So you just set them on fire, and they're on fire until they go to the river.
I like that.
I'm imagining that like in late game where it's just like, oh, we can't leave our base. I guess I'm permanently ignited. Gotta try and sneak out of the base into the river, but they can see me and my healing is halved. So that was last week's. This week's question is, Riot Games comes to you with a request. We need a completely new, unique skin line. What is your answer?
This is tough. I'm gonna say. I'm gonna say a food skin line. So I'm talking
That's
like,
what I was thinking. Like, characters are food.
yeah, like Vel'Koz would be spaghetti, obviously. Oriana would have a meatball for a ball.
A meatball.
I'm having difficulties coming up with literally anything else.
It's a little tough.
It is
just,
tough
like,
to come up
turning
like right
characters
off
into
the-
food. You could just make Brand a big old piece of like burnt toast.
I mean, alternatively, I was thinking like inverse colors. So just whatever, just the inverse colors for your character model.
Okay, I could see that.
Which would be a nightmare to look at for some characters.
Yeah. I think like a really easy one that they could do and just like make money out the fucking wazoo is if they just did like a gender bent skin line where it's just like femme as or like you can play Leona but it's boy.
True.
Right, and if you made that like a chroma or something, dude, they would sell that shit. Like, rake in the dollars, right, games. Other than that...
What about, like, any character that has a projectile just shoots their own character model instead of the projectile?
Ooh, perfect. That sounds... I feel like the problem with that, though, is, like, Giant Head Draven is already there, and it needs to be a completely unique skin line.
But I'm thinking, like, Ezreal, right? You shoot... Your Q
Ezreals.
is a little Ezreal. Your W is a little Ezreal. Your E is a little Ezreal.
Your ultimate is every
big
Ezreal skin
Ezreal.
holding hands.
That'd be wild.
It'd be so wild. All right, alternate other skin lines. Just like modern streetwear skin line.
Oh, true.
That'd be pretty dope.
Kind of like the KDA Akali style.
Yeah, kind of like that. And we'll give one more because it's my thought that like led me to this was just like I was just thinking of like what if they just like gave characters like sponsored clothing, like what if characters just running down the lane with like Nikes on and they're just like give me that money Nike.
Oh,
Like Jace is
you get like
running down
Hot
the-
Topic Morgana.
Yeah. Jace is running down the lane in like his tracksuit with the stripes.
Adidas Jace. I think
Adidas.
I actually kind of really like that idea.
Gangplank just pulls out a bottle of orange Gatorade.
Huh.
Basically, all of my skin lines would get fat
Tropicana
stats.
Gangplank.
Tropicana. If you guys have ideas
Hell
for
yeah.
completely unique skin lines, feel free to post them on our Facebook, our Discord. You can send us an email. Link to the Discord. We'll send it to you if you don't already have it. You can message us on League or email us. The Facebook page is just facebook.com/leaguecast, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So with that, we'll go on to Cheese Pick.
Hell
That's
yeah.
my section again.
That is your section again.
Look at me, 2 in a row. I'm doing so much more than I usually do. This is
I
wow.
have to pay you overtime.
Yeah, you're gonna have to pay me time and a half.
Time and a
Let's
half.
see. Let me get my
run the numbers. Oh, 0.
Still 0. So our cheese pick this week, I actually ran into this in one of my ranked games in D3. And it was just like, how is it working? It was a Conqueror Elise top that rushed a Rage Blade into like an on-hit build. And I think... I'm trying to remember, it was against an Aatrox, and I think she went like 9-0.
Jesus.
She just dicked on him. So I think the main part of it is like you can stack Conqueror really quickly because like you land the EWQ and that's 3 plus an auto is 4. E on top of them and then like one more auto you've procced it and then you get like your WQ damage is a lot.
Well, it's like you could stack it in range and then switch to melee to get
That
that
too.
full duration.
Yeah, you also get bonus damage when you drop on somebody with your E. So that on top of the true damage from Conqueror is pretty nuts. Any character that has ranged in melee is a really strong laner. As well as, she's got CC, she's got percentage health damage, and she's got natural sustain in spider form. So all of those things are real good. So I think it's definitely like something that's fun to play. I think this person's probably much higher rank than that account was, and they're just dicking around, but play it in a normal game, try it out, see if you like it. So that's the cheese pick.
Hell yeah. So we're going to talk very shortly about the LCS section because I think Aiden's more excited, and we'll mention it next week when he's back. But Immortals has acquired Infinite Esports Entertainment, the group that owns Optic Gaming. So we may see a new team in the LCS next split, but it's an old team. And then the other news is that Dignitas is merging with Clutch Gaming. So we might see the return of Dignitas as well.
Ooh, or Clutch. Do we know
Clutch,
which name they're going to take?
I don't. I imagine Dignitas has more
more recognition, yeah.
Yeah. So I that would be my guess. Yeah, let's get into mail fight. We got 3 emails. The first one is from Lars, and he said, "Hi boys. I've been playing in low silver since I've started. I keep going on and off of the grind with some less serious picks. I've been trying AP Nico AD carry with some snare supports like Morgana, Zyra, Lux, Vel'Koz. I mostly do this if I already have a Yasuo, Tryndamere, Twitch, or Kindred, for example. I want to know what your high elo opinion is. I had a game last week where I played Nico with Morgana support. We won lane hard. I was 7-2, and my support was 3-1. And later in the game, our Yasuo mid started complaining we didn't have an AD carry, and I argued he was the AD carry. He has 80 damage, attack speed, and crit. That's all an AD carry has too. And we have range damage from me and Morgana. Am I wrong thinking this is a decent bot lane? I do this mainly because playing AD carries is hard for low elo players. You will die by pure AoE damage a lot of the times and have a hard time positioning. Also, it started as Morgana Lux bot with a friend, and I saw that the double bind champs mostly end in a lot of kills because if one champ gets stunned, you most likely get him low or kill him. Sorry for all the grammar and spelling mistakes. English is not my first language. Hey, you did a great job. Keep up the nice show. It helps me through some boring office days. Best regards, Lars01, a silver newbie who likes some fun with Nico. So I think this is fine. Like in low elo, you're probably going to get flamed because the game is solo lane top, solo lane mid, jungle, AD carry support. That's the meta. It's been like that for a decade now, and it's hard to break people's mindset of that. But honestly, the only reason you would pick an AD carry is to take turrets. So if you're able to just kill them, you can just take turrets when they're dead. As long as you're winning bot lane, I think it's fine.
Yeah, I'd say the only like stipulation I'd say is like I think this lane is always fine, as long as right you play it okay and like don't feed your lane because obviously that's not going to be okay, and then you need a source of physical damage elsewhere. So if you have
Yeah.
you know a Rumble top and an Orianna mid, and you've got like an Evelynn jungle, probably don't pick this lane because you need physical damage somewhere. But right, if you have a Yasuo mid, if you have a Kha'Zix jungle or a Yi, you know, if you have a source of physical damage elsewhere to kind of make up for the fact that instead of a mix bottom, you're doing double AP, as long as you make up for that damage composition somewhere, totally fine. And I think this is a very strong lane. I've seen it in, you know, middle, high diamond. Do just fine.
I mean, one of the most popular lanes, like kill lanes, is Taliyah Pantheon. And the Pantheon builds, I mean, damage at first, but doesn't get farm after that. So you're lacking a lot of physical damage there too. I think, yeah, it's fine. If you make it work, it's fine. I would communicate with your solo queue team that you would want to play this and to pick AD heavy elsewhere. Because, yeah, you don't want to wind up in a situation where they build a Spirit Visage and your entire team is countered. But yeah, good luck. Let us know how it goes. And thank you, Lars.
Next email is from Caleb, and he says, I've been listening for a while and was wondering how to practice combos if you're playing a character like Xayah as a main and have a high ping of about 130.
Oof. Honestly, like, just time. Eventually, that 130 ping will feel normal, and you'll kind of know when to cast your abilities and do your combos. But until then, like, you could try switching to easier champs. I mean, you can play Garen on 130 ping, no problem.
Yeah,
It's
and
not
it's
as
hard because the
fun.
practice tool, you're not going to have that lag, and so you're just going to kind of, like, mess yourself up. So I'd say, yeah, either, like, you got to play a lot of games and just get used to that timing, or try and maybe stick to characters that don't have that fine input and timing maybe as necessary. That being said, with 130 ping, you should be able to play just about any character fine without any major issues.
Yeah, honestly. Or just move.
Yeah, just move right
There
next
you
to
go.
the server, and
Yeah.
and you can buy us a house too, and it'll be fine.
Done. Thank you.
Easy. Why don't homeless people just buy a house?
Thank you, Caleb. Hopefully that helps. Spencer is our last email, and he says, I like to suggest my idea for a team comp following a skin line arcade comp. Top lane, Riven, jungle, Hecarim, mid lane, Corki, or Ahri. Bot lane, Misfortune, support Sona. This team has a good mix of damage, and Sona and Hecarim are excellent combos for Misfortune. How do you think that team would do? I think that's super strong. I think the only weak point is Misfortune, but
I think
you
it's
can
a
switch
really
them
good
out.
team.
You could switch them out for Ezreal, arcade Ezreal.
Even
So, you got
Misfortune,
some
I think
options.
is fine.
Yeah, I
Especially
just
because
don't
of how
think she's
well
the most
team's-
strong right now.
Yeah, I don't think she's the best, but I don't think she's like bad.
She's not, but if your alternative is Ezreal, I think you pick Ezreal. But yeah, pretty solid. I thought the stats on team spending versus wins were interesting. Cloud9 surprised me just because they seem to keep a deeper roster of LCS caliber players than most teams in NA. On the topic of depth, I hope I didn't already write to you about this. The LCS has allowed coaches on comms during Champ Select for a couple years now. What would you think of letting any alternatives on the comms also and allowing teams to sub them in at the end of Champ Select before the game starts? I think this would really be a really neat idea and encourage players to diversify the champion pools, possibly resulting in more variety / interesting counter picks. Do you think this could ever happen, Spencer? No, and I hope it doesn't. I think having, like, going through a pick ban, you kind of, at least in LCS, like, you kind of know what to expect. It's like, you couldn't have two mid laners, one of them being Froggen, but you sit Froggen for pick ban, they ban Anivia, and then you swap it out for, like, any bot. Like, that's kind of, I don't know.
Yeah,
That seems
I-
cheap and not very, like, I don't know.
I think
yeah.
hot swapping players during Champion Select would be a problem. You know, I think letting alternates in the comms, like, I'm fine if the whole support staff wants to be on comms for Pickman, because I think that's just, right, that's just a level of, like, realistically you should have your strategy and your plan already set, and it should just be a person executing it. I don't think adding another person to that conversation would change much.
Yeah.
I think the only kind of like next step to be wary of, it'd be like having a strategy coach with the team on comms during the game. And again, I would not want to see that.
No, yeah.
Because I value that a lot as a player's trait and as a thing that, something that the player should do. Right? That's like part of the game. And I think if someone else is dictating strategy from afar, that takes away a lot from that. And it's just like, okay, now it's only about mechanics and then somebody's micromanaging everything. And that's not how the game is in solo queue or anywhere else.
Yeah, then it becomes you take away that macro aspect that a lot of NA players are very good at, and it's kind of like lame in my opinion. But yeah, I mean, beforehand, my only concern about letting more people in the comms beforehand is it becomes, as you add more players, it becomes, or coaches or staff or whatever, it becomes increasingly difficult to ensure that nothing, like no shenanigans happen. Like you add 5 more people, and that's 5 more opportunities that the microphone continually transmits throughout the game, and it didn't get taken away from them by someone who just started on the Riot staff or something like that. Like, which is obviously a super fringe scenario, but it only has to happen once for it to be a problem, right? So, yeah, just more opportunity for issues to arise. But thank you, Spencer. Appreciate it. And that brings us to the end of episode 382. Follow us on Twitter at LeagueCast and at LeagueCastFrost. Facebook is LeagueCast. ts.leaguecastpodcast.com is our TeamSpeak address where we hang out most of the time. If you would like our Discord information, you can send us an email, mail@leaguecastpodcast.com, and I will do my best to reply as quickly as I can with that link. Twitch.tv/bluebasket and /kinglardot are where we stream. Colton's been streaming much more recently. And a number of subs away from cooking stream.
We hit the goal for the grilled cheese stream, so I'm probably gonna do that this Saturday.
Pog.
Saturday the 15th.
13.
Yeah, the 15th. Yeah, 15th. June 15th. So I'll probably do that in the morning. Do a nice little grilled cheese stream, and then my next sub goal will be a cosplay stream. I haven't decided who. But if we get there, it'll happen.
Hell yeah.
Probably be like Lux, because I'll be hot. My thick beard and my totally feminine figure.
And your very high voice.
Yep. Demacia.
But yeah, that's so check that out. And then finally, you can support us on Patreon, patreon.com/LeagueCast. Thank you guys for listening, and we will see you next week for 383. Goodbye.
Bye.